Welcome, friends, to Bible study. I'm glad to see you all here tonight. And we'll be continuing our study in the book of James, beginning a new chapter, chapter 3. As we've been studying this book, we've learned a lot of things. A lot of practical doctrines have been taught in the book of James. And also, it's a barometer, if you will, for our Christianity. There are very easy tests that you could do and apply so that you may figure out where last works. So that's a very easy test that works. So that's a very easy test that we can stands up to this test. And the test was, do we have works along with our faith? And there's a number of different topics that are practical in nature and very easy for us to examine ourselves in to see whether or not we be found in the faith, as Apostle Paul says in his writing. So likewise, the third chapter is something that we can evaluate where we stand as Christians. It's a test, if you will, to see how mature we are, to see if our faith is authentic. So it's something that is challenging. It may not be pleasing, the results that we find out, because nobody wants to take a test and realize they flunk it. But at the same time, an F makes us understand that we have much studying to do, or in our case, maybe much more improvement and devotion to God, so that we could, in the second, have this type of this book of James, and especially the third chapter, is that he talks a lot about being slow to speak and quick to bridle his tongue. Verses of this chapter, I believe it was in the wet place. That's why it's so slippery. Sometimes we say things, slippery member that we have to grab up with our tongue is devastating. But the one thought that I want us to, more so than all others, is there are certain topics that on high alert. And I want to read from the book of Proverbs 18:21. It says the following. That's quite a statement, wouldn't you say? And with great power comes great responsible with this power that we have been given. In Proverbs, I could say, couldn't say it any better and more severe and more vivid, that death and life are in the power of the tongue. The two greatest things, the two greatest opposing, you could say, poles here, death and life, are both found in the power of the tongue. And this is true from Scripture, as we see that the Lord himself created the universe, everything that is in it, the heavens, the things we see, the things we don't see, by the power of his word. If you notice, it doesn't say in the Scripture that God took some matter, took some other stuff, started mushing it together, and it happened. When he was speaking things came into existence. When he said, let there be light, there was light. When he said, let there be a firmament above the heavens, there was, and so on. He was creating things with the power of his word. God, and the word was God. So we see how great a power is words, or the tongue, the agent that we use to express our words. This is how powerful it is, that God created everything by the power of his word. And on the other hand, it's also a great evil. You could destroy a great thing by a few words. God created such a great thing, the earth. It was perfect without sin. He created man. He was perfect without sin. He put him in the Garden of Eden. I probably think it was about 73 degrees over there at all times. Never rained, never snowed. There was never any wind. Incorrectly. We see how the and she believed them. Everything that God created, the atmosphere that was being enjoyed by Adam and Eve was ruined because the perfection that was created was ruined. And the other person acted on them. I read this text and we read and go out and continue. I want us to understand our tongue is. That death and life are found in the power of the tongue. God created all that there was with his word, and Satan by his words destroyed a lot of it, and we died in our sin as a result. I want this to be imprinted in our minds as we continue our study, because we should not lose for us to be careful with our words, because we create a great power. You can encourage somebody. You could say he's not so confident in himself, and you see something good, you encourage him. Maybe he goes to college. Maybe he gets a career. His life goes on track because you gave him a few encouraging words. And better even when you preach somebody the gospel who is dead in sins, and your words gospel, and ultimately they may faith in Jesus Christ. You have that power with your words and in your tongue. But also you have the power to destroy people. I want us to think about, maybe we were in a time that we were in an argument or whatever the case may be, and somebody said a few ill words to us. How did we react? What were our feelings after we received these words? I don't think they were too pleasant. This is also what we have at our disposal, to build up or to break down. This concerns everybody. And this is a great power. I want us to understand that. This is a great power. Death and life are found in the tongue. And we want maybe some sort of other powers. I don't know. When I was a young Christian, I wanted the power to do miracles. I wanted the power to heal people. I wanted all these great powers. Why I wanted them, I don't know exactly, but maybe one reason why, because it was rare. I didn't know anybody who had it. I wanted to be a standout individual with this great power. But it seems like it's human nature that if it's not rare, it's not valuable. You guys understand what I'm saying? If everybody has it, it's not valuable. It's like a Mickey Mantle baseball card. If everybody had one, it wouldn't be $1 million. But the case is that not many people do. That's why it is. So the same thing with the tongue. It's a great power, but maybe we lose sight of how powerful it is because we all have one. And we all can speak. And it becomes something so routine, something that loses its luster in our judgment. But friends, I have a great power at our disposal, and we should be very responsible for how we use that. So I want us to have a new maybe idea or a new outlook at the type of power the tongue possesses and what we can do with it. We're going to go into our text. It's going to be James chapter 3. We'll be starting in verse 1. My brethren, be not many masters, knowing that we shall receive the greater condemnation. For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man, and able also to bridle his whole body. Now, James here starts off, and he's addressing people who are teachers. And friends, it may address their tongue and what they are in no order. Some problems, there were some difficulties, and James is saying that those who are masters must understand that there